Academy FM Folkestone
on 105.9 FM
and online at academyfmfolkstone.com.
Hello, my name is Adam and I'm a student from the Folkestone Academy School, and I'm taking part in the Welcome Trust Science Project, where local children interview professionals about a science question they have. And I wanted to know how you could make a perfect shoe, and I had other questions about feet and shoes. So I came down to the Foot House in Cheriton and I spoke to podiatrist David Smith. I started by asking, is my foot normal?
Well, let's have a look at your foot. Okay, so what are the aspects of a normal foot? First of all, what's a normal foot? Okay, so you've got some idea about what a normal foot looks like. We all know what a normal foot looks like, kind of. If we're going on the form and the shape of the foot. On the other hand, we could say, what's normal? Is it painful? Is it normal to be painful? It's not normal to be painful. So a normal looking foot obviously can be painful, so then it's not normal. But we'll assume that we're just looking at the shape. So if you look at your foot, you're looking at a nice arch in the foot there as it sits. It's not flat. It's not too highly arched. It's got nice flat straight toes. It's got a general shape which looks like a normal foot, which is difficult to describe, but you know what it looks like. It's got good ranges of motion in the joints. So you can move all the joints freely without any crunchiness or any pain. Nothing is blocked. All the joints go in the right way, and that's kind of a normal foot, really.
So what would make my foot comfortable inside of a shoe?
Okay, what makes it comfortable in a shoe is that the shoe fits properly, basically. It doesn't want to be rubbing. It doesn't want to be too tight anywhere. It doesn't want to be sliding around. It needs to give some support, so it doesn't want to be too soft. It might maybe have an arch support in there that just gives you a bit of comfort, some softness inside. The heel counter, which is the back of the shoe here, that needs to be fairly stiff so your foot doesn't just slide out of the shoe at the back. The sole ideally shouldn't twist too much and should be able to flex in the toe where your toe flexes, so that you can easily just move forward. Those are the sort of basic aspects of a shoe, really, that makes it comfortable to wear.
So, is there any particular shoe for running? As in, do you need one of them high-tech running shoes, or can you just go barefoot?
Well, now you're going into sort of controversial area, because there's people who like to run barefoot and say that's the best thing to do, and then there's people that say that certain types of shoes are better, and then there's the standard running shoe brigade that wear running shoes, and that's kind of the most popular shoe. That's what you see most sportsmen wearing, is standard running shoes.
I see you've got some running shoes over there. What are the main aspects? What makes a running shoe when you look at it?
Okay. So, if we look at a normal shoe, okay, this is just a normal standard man's shoe. It's got a leather upper, okay. Leather's usually quite a good material for shoes to be made of. And it's got an insole there, which I've just taken out. Okay. Yeah. And then, if you look inside, it's just directly on to the outer sole. And the outer sole is made there quite rigid, it's protective, doesn't allow things to penetrate through it when you're walking on it. But it's flexible in one way, so you can bend your toes, but it's quite stiff in the other way, so your foot doesn't twist over the side, and it gives it support that way. But you'll notice that it goes directly onto the outer sole. So
I noticed on the sole it has blue areas. Are they like special areas, or what's
on this insole? Yeah, this insole has it's got like gel at the heel and in the forefoot, and these are just for shock absorption. Although the proper word's shock attenuation, but we'll say absorption here. Okay, so, and this just gives you extra protection as your heel hits the ground, and as you push off from the ground, you get spikes in force there, and so it just attenuates that and stops you from getting pressure points.
So what's the difference between this shoe and one of these running shoes?
Okay, so this is a typical sports running shoe, cross trainer. It's not specifically for running, it is a cross trainer. But all sports shoes, basically, they've got this insole, which is very similar to the one you've just seen in the other shoe. It's got an outer sole, which is protective again. It stops anything penetrating in it, and it gives it some sort of stiffness. But then the main thing is this central midsole, as they call it, which is it's got features in there which include shock absorption, certain types of support, the way it flexes, the way it twists, the way it supports the foot. It all varies on different manufacturers, but the basic concept is a midsole which is made of some sort of material which is suitable for whatever activity you're doing. You can see in this one you've got arch support here, which is built in with extra support here made of rigid plastic that's added on the outside. That goes right through the centre there. Again, that's all in the midsole, and the outer sole just gives you the protection and the rigidity.
So you see this pink running shoe, it's got loads of like meshy stuff in there. What's that for? I've always wondered what it's for.
Okay, so you've got leather, a basic leather construction for the upper, yeah, and then you've got these panels which are made in a nylon mesh, as you rightly said, and that just gives you airflow. So when you run in, obviously you're going to get hot. You want your feet to stay cool so they don't sweat too much. So that gives you an airflow through the shoe. Leather does breathe, and you can see it's got holes in the leather to allow breathing as well, but not quite as well as this nylon mesh.
So what's that middle bit of that shoe made of?
You mean the midsole?
Yes.
Okay, so the midsole can be made in many materials, but EVA is a common material, although now there's more gels, thermoplastics, all sorts of different types of plastics which different manufacturers have to help with shock absorption. There's the new Adidas, I think it is, I can't remember now, but that gives you extra springiness. Every manufacturer has some aspect that they say is new and improved, but the midsole does something which adds to the shock absorption or the propulsion or the way that the shoe flexes. But the standard midsole is a material called EVA, which is a kind of expanded foam.
So if you can only put this EVA in one area, where do you think you would need it most?
That's difficult to say, but probably under the heel. If you're running and you land on your heel, that's where you want most of the shock absorption. But if you're running and you land on your forefoot, then in the heel is not much good. So really it needs to be right through the whole shoe, because shoes are sold for all sorts of people, but the manufacturer doesn't know who's going to buy them, so they have to keep that in mind. So
back to a sole of a shoe. When people say they're breaking something in, how does the sole actually mould to your specific foot?
Okay, so people usually often say, oh, I'll break this shoe in and it'll fit, but really you should choose a shoe which fits straight away. You have to keep in mind, of course, that leather, if it's made of leather, it does stretch a bit and gives you some breaking in. But the main thing that you're talking about, how does it mould to the shape of your foot, is usually the insole is made of some sort of mouldable material, which can be EVA or plastizote, like this one is plastizote. Gel ones don't mould, they just return to the same shape. So after you've been wearing this one for a while, you'll see it have the indent of your balls of your feet, the heel, and a lot of people, you'll see big dents in the insole around the forefoot where they've got a lot of pressure on a certain metatarsal head. Gives you an idea then that might be the one that's hurting. No, usually tell you if it is anyway.
So if you had infinite material, could you make a shoe that does everything? You can run in it, you could stand in it easily, it gives you support for your foot and can be used as an everyday shoe?
In a word, yes. But to put that into context, you can make a shoe that you can run in, you can do anything you want in it, but it won't do it to its optimum. So you can't have a really good walking boot that's also a good shoe to go dancing in. So specific shoes are good for specific things, but you can buy shoes which will do a lot of things fairly well, but not very well for anything. So you can have a shoe that's a jack of all trades, or you can have a specialist shoes which do the job well for whatever activity you're doing.
So out of the three shoes we have on here, you have your shape-ups, my smart school shoes, and her heels.
Yeah.
Which one would you think would suit best for just everyday use?
Well, I wouldn't look very good in this lady's heels.
Yeah, you would.
I would. The shoe that's best for you is the one that is comfortable for you to wear and doesn't give you any pain at the end of the day. So if you're wearing a pair of shoes that causes you pain, then don't wear them. Find a different pair that doesn't. as an everyday sort of generic description of what is the best type of shoe, then you could say a shoe with a medium-sized heel with those features in it I described earlier. It gives you protection in the sole. It helps you just to rock through as you the stance phase, as we call it. As you put your foot down, you go from heel to toe and push off. Then it helps you just to move through that without blocking anything. It's plenty of room for your foot to expand inside. It's not going to rub your toes. It's not going to cause your toes to claw back. On the other hand, it's not going to be so big that you're trying to hold it on, or it's sliding around causing a lot of friction, which will cause rubbing lesions. And it's made of a material that is breathable, so you don't sweat inside the shoe. And sweating causes all sorts of skin problems and friction inside the shoe. So within those boundaries, you could say that is the perfect type of shoe. But it depends on what you're going to use it for and who you are. Some people need a high heel shoe because if they wear a flat shoe, then they start to get pains in their Achilles tendons and their calves because it's stretching all the time. Other people can't wear high heels because they've got really unstable ankles and they keep spraining their ankles all the time. It's horses for courses, really. You need to wear the shoe that is comfortable for you and doesn't cause you any pain.
So to my final question, which sort of shoe would you like to wear personally?
Every day I tend to wear the type of shoes I've got on now, which is the shape-ups, the Skechers shape-ups. I wear them because they've got this rocker sole in them, which just helps me to move forward easily, and it makes me land on the midfoot, which keeps the pressure off my ball of my foot, which I get particular pain in, and also I get a bit of hip pain, so it just lets my hips level out. So for me, it's a particularly good shoe, but it's not recommended for everyone. It suits me.
Okay, thank you. I've been Adam in Cheriton at the Foothouse, and it's been...
And I'm Dave Smith, and I'm just saying thanks and cheerio.
Thank you.
105.9
Academy FM Folkestone.